If you use the quick figure button to create a figure, it will create a figure that matches up to the current default format. However, your lab might enjoy a different style of figure that looks quite different from this default format. So you're going to want to change what the default format is. That's very simple. You simply edit the figure as is normal and then set that new figure as the new default format. I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to make a few changes just as an example. Changing the brightness of the labels, and I'm also going to change the size of the labels. All right. I'm going to change the distance between panels. I'm going to put the merged image panel first. I'm going to change what the merged image is called, and also change what the scale bar looks like. And I might as well change what font the labels are displayed as. After doing all of these changes, I will set this as the new default format. Going to go to the figure format menu and go to create default template. That will bring up a dialog window. That window will let us choose which items we want as our models for the defaults. I hit OK. I'm going to close this figure completely and I'm going to create a new one. First opening an unrelated file, drawing a region of interest and hitting QuickFigure. And the new figure has been created according to our new default format. In order to further demonstrate how one can edit the default figure format, I'm going to show one more example. Now, within this image right here, the feature that I care about is relatively small. So I'm going to draw a tiny region of interest. There we go. And I'm going to hit the quick figure button. And the figure that it's created is not at all any good for me. It is far too tiny in its image panels and the text is huge. So I'm going to right click on one of these panels, go to figure and recreate all panels. And then I'm going to change the scale to something relatively large. There, this is a lot nicer. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm also going to tell it not to include the DAPI panel, not to include the DAPI and the merged, and to squeeze these panels within two columns. This is quite different already. Also going to change how the color is displayed. Move these panels a little bit more. And I'm going to make some small edits to the scale bars. This figure looks quite different. I'm going to make these items the default for future figures. So I go back to the figure format menu and hit create default template. They'll ask me to choose which items, but since I only have one figure here, that's an easy choice to make. I hit OK. Now I'm going to close this and I'm going to find another image. And within the other image, I'm also going to find another very tiny feature that I can draw a region of interest around. And now I'm going to hit the quick figure button again. And it's created a brand new figure for that image's region of interest, and it's created it according to the new default format that I've just created. While on the subject of scale, I'm going to explain a bit about how to keep track of scale within QuickFigures. It's very important to pay attention to the scale, size, and resolution of your images and figures to be sure that what you're preparing is appropriate for either presentation or scientific publication. If you double click on an image panel, one of the items within its dialog include information about the dimensions. It tells you how many pixels wide by tall it is. It also tells you how many pixels per inch. That information is critical to know. You'll also see some of the same information if you're dragging one of its handles, displayed right here. Now you've probably noticed the inch measurements on the bottom and the right of my canvas. That tells me that this whole figure is about 4 inches wide by 1 inch high. That's good to know because a piece of paper is 8 inches of width, which makes this kind of big for fitting in a publication manuscript. Whereas a PowerPoint slide will be about 10 to 13 inches in width, which means that this figure would look kind of small on a PowerPoint slide. So in either case, you're going to need to scale it. You can right click either on an image or on a layout and go to the figure submenu. Either the rescale all panels option or the recreate all panels option will give you a way to scale these panels up or down. If you want to scale everything in the figure, including not just the panels but the label, there's the scale figure submenu. This will give you a few options of its own. I'm going to choose one of them, scale to slide size. It's bigger now, so I'm going to have to zoom out to see it. I'm going to hit the minus key to zoom out, plus key to zoom in a little bit. That looks a bit better. You see that it's now about 8 inches by 3 inches in size, which would not look too bad on a PowerPoint slide. You can also select all of the objects in your figure and drag the pink handles in order to enlarge or contract the size of your figure. And there you go, it's scaled up. I now go to File and Export, Create PowerPoint Slide. Slide 15 I just typed in. And now it's created a PowerPoint slide and it had PowerPoint open it. I can continue editing. I can, for example, go to the group menu and ungroup so that I can edit these panels individually, or I can just continue moving this around as a group. This size is not so bad compared to the size of a slide.